Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Behind the Mask. Me and Danny are bringing you another inside look on filming, and this one's going to dive a little bit into crowdfunding. We're going to talk about the movie Mirror Mirror and why you should be supporting that this month and be on the lookout for that. So Danny, what's going on?
Nothing much, man. We just wrapped up day 2 of my film. Like I told you guys, it was either the YouTube channel or filming, and I only have time for one. So for my film Syndrome, it's gonna be really, really dope. It's something that I'd never touched on before. Obviously, on this channel and whatnot, we're big horror fans. Big suspense mystery. That's like my genre. That's we've been talking about lately. So I was like, why not? Why not shoot an old script that I had? And it's coming out hella good, man. And I'm super excited to share it with everybody. So that's what we got going on.
I seen one of those clips, and my God, it's hot. I mean, that looks really good. So anyway, this month, and we're going to be giving away this Puppet Master Blu-ray box set. Every video that gets 100 likes, 100 comments, subscribers will enter to win that box set. $130 value, free shipping. So go ahead, drop likes on this, drop comments, share it around, and then be eligible to win that. Maybe I'll throw in the Blade figure to go along with it. Woo! Yeah, definitely. So don't forget to do all those things. And now we're going to dive into our topic for today, and that's Mirror Mirror and the crowdfunding that's going on for that. We have some special guests. We have Marcus Mcgill, longtime nerd boxer. He's a producer on the film. We have Drew Phillips, who is the director and writer on film. And then we have Montavius Parker, fellow YouTuber, and the story by him. So we're going to dive into that in just 1 second. Hey, welcome everybody. How's it going?
Yes.
Good, man. How are you?
Yes, Marcus. Yes.
Hey, behind the mask, man.
That's perfect. It seems to be plugging the film that's right over your shoulder there.
Yep, coming
All right, so before we dive into questions, let's start off with a little introduction for everybody. So Marcus, since you wore the mask, we'll start with you.
How's it going, everybody? My name is Marcus Mcgill. I am fortunate to be one of the producers of this upcoming film, Mirror Mirror. You all are in store for an awesome experience. So keep an eye out for it. Check out the Kickstarter, and let's get this going.
Yeah, and reason to support this campaign in its final days or weeks is because Marcus is attached to Terrifier 2, is attached to the stream. So, hey, we're going 3 for with this one.
Hell yeah.
Definitely.
All right, Montavius, how's it going? First time that we're actually talking. I think we talked on social media, Facebook in passing.
Yes, sir, indeed. And I want to say thank you both for, definitely having us on so we can talk about our campaign and our project. So yeah, Montavius Parker, YouTuber, podcaster, HorrorCon traveler, film enthusiast. Like I really, we have a great team with Marcus, Jonathan, Drew. These guys are definitely like the heart of it. So we're just excited to share, our project with, you guys and then you guys' fan base and stuff like that. So thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you. And then Drew?
Absolutely. Yeah, I am a writer, director, actor out of the East Coast. So I primarily work out of New York, but I live in Philly. And yeah, I'm super stoked. I'm known for, my acting work on Mayor of Kingstown, FBI, and Law and Order. And I've done some shorts like I Believe in the Devil and Badland. And this upcoming one, Mirror Mirror, which we're hoping to do 2 ways. Once as a short, and then if it's successful, as a feature as well.
Nice.
Very exciting.
Good reveal in the beginning, Drew. Awesome.
All right, so let's dive into things. So as I mentioned, we're coming to the end of the campaign for those who may not have seen our previous interview on the Coffee House of Horror. Drew, give us a little backstory on this and what the story is going to be about.
Yeah, I have to, I have to go back to inception. So I don't remember the exact month, but let's just say 6 to 9 months ago, Montavius saw one of my films, and he is Jonah's convention manager. And Montavius came to me and was like, "Hey man, I have an idea. I want to do something with mirrors, demons, and Joneth." And I was like, "Okay." And I took the baton and ran with it. And so I decided, because I knew Joneth was going to be my star, that I wanted it to be about the Black family unit. So we sort of went back and forth. I think Montavius asked early on, like, does the other person have to be Black? And I said, no, absolutely not. But it changes the dynamic of the story if they're not. Get Out sort of has the mixed race thing going on, but that's sort of about race. And so we wanted to tell a film that happens to be Black, but isn't necessarily about race, if that makes sense. Or at least not racism, if that makes sense. So yeah, the story follows a young couple who live in the Bronx, and they're expecting with their first child, and they decide to buy a mansion at auction from the bank, unaware that malevolent forces tied to the house's mirrors are coming after their unborn child. We're really stoked. We're working with this awesome storyboard artist, Quinn Lee, who sort of was able to bring what I was seeing in my head to life for our monster. So, we've got a crazy look at this sort of faceless, lanky creature that you can think of like Slender Man meets what is the thing in Alien, the main monster, Xenomorph. You can think of that, because it's going to have no features from the nose up, just like a really toothy grin, and sort of like long bony fingernails. So we're trying to create like a cool monster behind this too.
Nice. Yeah. That is very important, because there's been a lot of films this year and last year I kind of missed on that mark when they do the creature reveal. And that's a lot of the time because it's like overly done in CGI rather than practical effects. Which way are you looking to go? CGI or practical effects with this?
Practical, absolutely. But due to the nature of, that's why I know if you see our campaign goal, it's set the way it's set for a reason. Doing things with name talent, which we have, and practically gets expensive. Plus, we're doing digital blends, so there are certain things that are impossible. Like, let's pretend moving out of a mirror. You can't do that in real life, obviously. So we're gonna have to blend it, use some green screens and some plates. But yeah, it's gonna be sick. I'm super stoked about the shots. I call them like my money shots, but I don't want to give too much away because I want to give something for the fans to look forward to. But yeah, we're super stoked about the practical aspect. And I think actually, Montavius, you want to talk about the Kevin Kepi story, or do you want me to?
Oh yeah. So, as people when we launch our campaign, you guys can go see, who's all involved. So Kevin Kepi, if you guys don't know, he's one of the creature actors from Smile. I was just shooting around with Drew, like, oh man, I wish we can get this person. I was like, oh, Kevin Kepi would be kind of cool to get. Very creepy, tall, just kind of what I pictured as, someone who could really be a demonic creature. And Drew went to work. That man contacted his people, and they love what Drew did. They love the concept, and lo and behold, Drew's like texting me and emailing me, "Hey, we got Kevin. He's on board." So, for me especially, so I'm happy for sure.
Hell yeah,
it was a cool story.
Yeah, that is super exciting. I just hope, you know what, man. I just really want for you guys, especially with the mirror aspect, we got to be way better than Mirrors, because that movie, God, had so much potential, and it was just basura. Oh my God. So I'm excited for you. Now, my question
what I'm
is,
not doing. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, no, go ahead. No, I'm an ADHD person.
I was just gonna say what I'm not
doing.
Ahead. I've been asked a few times, like, have you recently watched Oculus? There's a few films that have to do with mirrors, Insidious or whatever. And the answer is no, and I'm intentionally doing that. Some things may overlap just because of the nature of, like, if you're doing something spooky with mirrors, there's only X amount of things you can do. But I don't want to be... I'm trying to do my best not to be derivative. So it's like, I don't want to rewatch it and be like, that's a great idea. I want to be coming up with my own stuff, essentially. Where and when I can.
Hey, I would take it all the way back for you guys that part of the mirror element, and I don't know if Drew and Montavius thought of this intentionally or it just was in the back of their mind when Drew was writing it and it came out that way. But if you all remember John Carpenter's Prince of Darkness, and the scenes with the mirrors. That's this story kind of has little elements of it, but again, I don't know if it was intentional by Drew, but that's what, like, when he sent me the script, I was like, oh shit, man, this is one of the most underrated films of all time, Prince of Darkness. A lot of people don't know about it, and a lot of people just didn't like it because of back then, with John Carpenter and stuff. But I was like, man, just the parallel of this story and that, it just made me fall in love with it. And I'm excited to do the short, but even more excited to when Drew flesh it out into the feature, So yeah, you guys are in store for something special.
Yeah, and that was the perfect segue. But I was going to say that, being a horror fan and horror lovers, that influence is always there. And it's naturally just going to kind of seep into what you're doing. So, skipping out on those movies, I think that's the right idea. I'm kind of do that when I'm working on certain content for the channel. It's like I can't watch because I don't want to steal their ideas. I just want to kind of keep it as original as possible and not have something sitting back there and just come out accidentally.
That being said, one of my, I'm not going to call him a mentor, but somebody I looked up to as a young filmmaker, Scott Derrickson. He did The Exorcism of Emily Rose. Is that it?
Oh, okay, nice.
Sinister and The Black Phone. But he did a talk when I was at college, and he was like, the key to a good horror movie, or any movie really, is 75% already been done and 25% your own spin. Because if you go too far one direction, people are like, this is too art house. What the hell are they doing? But I sort of took that to heart. I was like, you know what? I like that. I'm going to run with that.
Yeah, it's only so much of an homage until it starts to be stealing ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much.
For sure.
And, I love it. I love it that you guys do that. I do it for the opposite reason. Like, I watch them so I don't do anything that's been done. You see what I'm saying? Like, I try to, like you said, you already said it. Some things are going to overlap. It's just like comedy when comedians are like, oh, this person stole a joke. And it's like, wait, you never had that experience either? Come on, guy. Right? Mm-hmm. It's one of those things that it happens. But to try to deviate from that, I'll watch films and be like, oh, I had that idea. Nope, ain't doing that. Moving on. Right? We just like change stuff. But to piggyback on, because we got off track a little bit, but to piggyback on what you guys said, I love the fact that you had a black family doing this, but my inner Latin blood was just like, us minority folk, we don't do spooky, man. Like, what is this? Right? Because anytime you hear a door shut or anything, holy water and running out the door. It's like that Eddie Murphy joke. It's just like, man, this place looks nice, baby. Get out. Too bad we can't stay. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things. My daughter got stuck in the TV. Did you try to help her? Yeah, I tried to turn it off, and that's it. So, with that being said, though, will we see like cultural influences that would help the story move on, or are you guys totally staying away from the cultural influence side?
I'll address it first, and then I'm going to open it up to my team members, because I did write it. I have to be responsible for what I wrote. So the answer is yes, and more so in the feature. So the short is designed to scare. So you will see a black family acting as authentically as you would think that they would act under the circumstances, but you will see even more of it in the feature, because I don't have enough time to test them, and there's like moments that I don't want to spoil, that I have these ideas for the feature where they're hilarious because they're exactly what you just said. It's like, holy water, run out the door. It's like, we're not staying in the house. You know what I mean? But the short, it's really designed to scare and show you just a glimpse of what this could be on a bigger scale, while also having a satisfying ending. So we don't want to gyp them and feel like they've only contributed so that we can sell this feature. No, it'll be a satisfying short. It has an ending it's solid, but it leaves itself open to something bigger, if that makes sense.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
you guys want to answer
that? Drew nailed it on the head with what he said. We're basically trying to hit you in the face right away with the short, but also with it being kind of basically a proof of concept for the feature. Is, how can I put it? Like, it's just giving like a little taste, you know what I mean? But just enough to get people hooked that they'll be interested in the feature and seeing it.
Yeah, it's lights out.
Yeah, basically like Lights Out and Whiplash, same idea. You know,
Smile
giving
used to
you
be
the
a
meat
short.
and potatoes. Oh yeah, I forgot Smile was kind of.
It's called
short.
Laura Doesn't Sleep.
Yeah.
But
Yep,
anyway.
I forgot
So
all
was
about
Juwan.
that. Yep.
The Grudge started
Yep.
out as a short.
Yep. So we want to give you the meat and potatoes, but still leave room for the dessert. You know, in the full 5-course meal with the feature. So.
That being said, the meat we're going to give you guys is grade A filet mignon. So we're not giving you bad meat. That's, again, that price tag associated with our short is for a reason. We are not going to sacrifice quality for a longer, am I allowed to curse on here? I don't know, shittier short.
Yeah, of course.
There you go. There you go. Good. I'm glad you said it. Hell yeah.
Yeah, it's not tainted meat, you know, for you Walking Dead fans.
Oh yeah, Walking Dead.
Oh boy.
So with that goal in mind,
So how does that kind of impact your campaign a little bit? You have people that are going to be, you know, sponsoring this, you know, taking money to it. And if you do get to bring it over to a feature length, will there be a secondary campaign, or will
maybe like anyone that signs up for a producer credit, do they follow along with it?
is that decided or planned out yet?
That's a great question. It's not my initial plan. So my initial plan is not to crowdfund a feature, because just to be frank with you, how I see the feature, it's going to be $12 to $15 million. And so like Terrifier 2, correct me if I'm wrong, that was 250,000.
Yeah.
And so it's like, to crowdfund any more than 250,000, I don't even think Terrifier 2 was crowdfunded. I think that was right. What, did they have like some private people involved?
No, I mean it was mostly crowdfunded. Let's just say half was crowdfunded, half was already.
Okay.
Yeah,
That being said, it's we're aiming for like a true sort of Blumhouse A24 experience for the feature, that I think it's more of a situation of like, if you love the short, here's a pitch for a feature, pay me to write it. But I'll already have it written, if that makes sense. So it's like, it's not like a bluff, if that makes sense. It's it's sort of like a plan of attack. It's like, we just made this great thing, you know, whatever.
Awesome. Here's the video. Here's the feature length, and bam, you got everything in one package.
Right.
Drew, you're taking the Kevin Williamson approach with Scream.
It's like, all right, well, and here's the other two parts already done.
Yeah, I keep telling people who ask me, because like one of my things, like I think that like shocked Montavius about me is I'm not afraid to pick up the phone to call almost anyone. I'll call Tom Cruise. His people won't answer me. Those to even higher level people, you'd be surprised who you can get on the phone by knowing how to speak in Hollywood. And I say that a little bit mysteriously, but I used to be an intern for a guy who wouldn't pay for an assistant. So he was in the same building as another producer, David Partenio, who made Face Off, and his paid assistant trained me to do the job of an assistant. And so they say like they talk funny. I'll play this out for you. They'll call, let's pretend Blumhouse. Hi, I have Drew Phillips for Zach Jones of Blumhouse regarding Project Mirror Mirror. The assistant will say, okay, let me see if I can get him. You wait, and either they say, I couldn't get him, do you want me to leave word, or not? So I'll call as myself. I'll be like, I have Drew Phillips for blank, but it's me. It's Drew Phillips. And you'd be surprised how many people I get through to. And then once I'm there, having those bullets loaded, like, hey, here's what I already have. 3 names, 2 contacts that we can pitch this to. Let's go. It's a better strategy than saying, hey, do you want to read my screenplay? You know what I mean? Like, I believe in having your guns loaded, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. So why is this story so important to tell, especially from some of the perspectives that you've already laid out?
I'm putting out a director's statement, so by the time this video is live, people will be able to read, but I'll speak to it from the heart. In the year of our Lord 2024, you are not, as a white man, gonna be able to make this film without addressing your why, right? Because you're gonna get flack from the left and the right. In fact, we already have from the right. Our trolls on our Facebook page are calling us woke. And I'm sure I'm going to get flack from the left as well, but my heart's in the right place, and I'll let my team members speak to this too. But you have to understand something about me is my best friend in the whole world happens to be African American. His dad happened to not be present when he was growing up, so he lived with me from ages like 16 to 18. Flash forward, I meet Jonath. Very similar story. His dad was also not present for him growing up. He was raised by his grandparents. So I wanted to tell a story that reflected the current truth, not the old truth. Because Jonath, who unfortunately couldn't be here today, he shows up for his kids every day. Montavius, you can speak to this, shows up for his kids every day. So I wanted to tell a story that, not only showed the old truth, but also presented a newer one. And yeah, I am a white guy telling the story, but I have 3 black partners in this, and their voices and their feelings and their heart is also in this. And they say it takes an army to make a film, and that's true. It's as much mine as anyone who's working on this. We're all coming together to make something great.
Yeah, and just to kind of piggyback on what Drew was saying, I think the most important piece is he definitely captured the voices of the African American family, or the African American man, not just us, but the family unit period, right? And so for me especially, trusting him with this project, it was just I grew up and my father was always there, my mother was always there, but I had friends who had to deal with not having someone around like their father or a father figure. And I'm like, I just want somebody to be able to shed a light on our story, and not in a negative way, more like a positive way. How Drew was saying, black men actually being there for their children and doing what it takes to make sure that they're safe. We're just playing it with a demonic entity. So I mean, we had to add that in there. But again, this is a great project for people just to get excited about if you just like horror and their story to it as well. So,
and I'll say that I'm one of those filmmakers and one of those fans of film in general. Whoever is best suited to tell the story, regardless of the race, sex, creed, belief, whatever. Whoever is best suited and best capable of telling the story should do this. And Drew, again, with valuing our opinion, and because of what we dealt with in life and things like that, he listened and he asked, and he kept double checking with Montavius and because I came on a little later than him, and Jonath, of, is this right? Is this how you would say this? Is this how you would do this? It's not like he's doing Boys in the Hood or Menace to Society and trying to tell the black experience. That's different. That's where I would have a problem. But he's telling a story of a family that just happens to be black, and so happens to be dealing with this situation, and so happens to be dealing with generational curses that they're trying to break, so anybody that has an issue with that needs to check themselves, and just say hey, we got a very capable director who loves horror, who understands this family dynamic, who sought out advice and asked people's experience who are that race, so I say my hat, I give him all the credit, for what he's done. So, and
thank you.
One of the main reasons that I jumped onto the project was not just because of Montavius and Jonath and knowing them, but after reading the script, I was like, wow, this is damn good. And I mean, it's written, it's tight, once the action picks up, it's nonstop, so people will really enjoy this story. And for it to be a short, they're going to leave out wanting more. So I'm excited.
I buried the lead too. Hey, thank you. You guys are gonna make me cry. But I buried the lead. There was one thing. It's in my director's statement, but I didn't say it now. It's the other thing that this story is about, which we touched on, is fatherhood. And I am a new father. I have a 3-month-old now. So when I was writing it, my wife was pregnant. So these themes were very real for me. These elements that you'll see in the short, they're like the horror, not so much, but like the pregnancy elements and sort of how that unfolds directly ripped from my life, like which anyone who's had a baby can relate to. Not that I delivered it, but
You guys hit it on the head, man. No, you guys did, man. And Marcus, you took the words right out of my mouth, because me and you had this discussion so many times. You know, is different. There's a difference between, hey, woke pushing an agenda than just telling a goddamn story. You know what I mean? And I hate when people mix the two, because I don't like when it's woke stuff, but that's not woke, man. It just so happens, like you guys said, it's a family that happens to be black, but this story, it's about the damn story, right? Let's get our heads out of our asses and enjoy the damn film, right? So thank you guys for touching on that. So I have a question for you, my friend. Being a fellow YouTuber, man, sometimes we encounter all sorts of ideas, right? How did this concept come about, and how'd you bring it from, you know, just as a concept to where it is now? Like, tell your story, because as you and I know, when we're just beginning, we always look for people to teach us, right? So we're looking for any information. Hey, how do I get this concept into the short, into the full film? So go ahead and tell us your side of the story, my friend.
Yeah, so basically, I've always had a passion for stories. I've always had a passion for film, and obviously, I don't know how to write. I don't know how to write like a screenplay or anything like that. So, but I would just jot down notes on my cell phone, just like of different things that I felt like that was creepy. And originally, before it was called Mirror Mirror, because Drew came up with that title, it was called Devil's Looking Glass. And again, it was just a concept of like, you know, again, it was just a concept, just a thought. I'm like, mirrors are kind of creepy, because imagine like looking in a mirror and then your reflection doesn't leave, or imagine seeing something else in the mirror, and it just started coming together. And then that's when, you know, Jonah hooked me up with Drew, and I was like, hey, this is what I have. And he literally took it, flipped it, and then made it a reality. Like, we're hopefully going to shoot this thing here in November. So very happy. That's literally how
we manifest.
We will. There we go. Yeah, it literally went from iPhone notes. It went from ideas to iPhone notes to Drew. And now here we are. We're talking to you guys about, you know, trying to fund our film. So
nice. And so how did you guys link up? How did that happen?
So Jonah, again, like how Drew mentioned, like they worked together before, like they went to Actors Lab Philly, right?
That's right.
Yeah, so like they met there, and then I was telling Jonah about the Devil's Looking Glass, which is Mirror Mirror, and he was like, yo, you know who could really write this story is like my buddy Drew. I'm like, oh, okay, cool, yeah, I'll talk to him. And then literally he sent me his number, and the rest is freaking history. I mean, we're like, what, 9 months, 10 months later, and you know, we're still chatting.
There's 2 babies that were born in this time span.
And you know what? That's awesome, man, because that just goes to show, you know how when people, they're either shy to talk to people or share their dreams, and that you never know who you're talking to. You never know. If I'm not mistaken, it's from Michael Caine's book that how a bunch of people mistreated, I think it was the bus driver or something like that, and didn't know it was actually like a high-end director or producer or something like that. And it's just like, you just never know, man. You just never know who is just there talking to you, man. It could be someone at the coffee shop or anywhere else. You just never know. Hey, my friend, you know, like in your case, hey, my friend, you know, talk to him, you know, talk to her. It may work out. And then boom, it turns bigger than you ever imagined. So that's an awesome story, man. That's an awesome story to share for the fans, you know, especially when they're in that concept era. Hell yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, I know you touched on it a lot, but what we do on our interview show for Behind the Mask is we want to help up-and-coming filmmakers, people that are maybe afraid to go the extra step. So what advice would you give to anybody that has that idea in their mind and wants to bring a story out, but just needs a little extra push to get over the hill?
Are we asking me, or are we asking everyone?
Everybody can answer that.
I'll say 2 things, and I think there was like, I keep on bringing up fatherhood, but there was some sort of real metamorphosis inside of me between before my son was born and afterward, where my fear went away. I think a lot of what gets in the way of anyone doing anything actually is that comfort zone and fear. Like I said, the ability to call, I always knew how to do that. I've known for 10 years. I was like, told my wife I could just do this. I didn't do it. I was like, whatever. Started doing it, and then I can't talk about it now, but if it becomes official, I'll tell you. There's crazy people that might come on that are interested that have not yet ticked the box yet. But again, it's that lack of fear that I used to have. So it's like, don't be afraid to reach out to people. Don't be creepy. Make sure you sort of have some sort of a good sales pitch. So if it's a cold email, like if you're trying to get someone to promote your stuff, so like I must email 200 influencers. I got the right one, which we're gonna announce by the time this comes out. It'll be out, but we announce that tomorrow. But somebody who was really passionate and our mission aligned with their mission. But yeah, I would say leave your fear at the door, which is easier said than done, and do the work. And this is like, people will say this, it's going to take 10 years of suffering unless you get lucky. But that's real. So like, if you're 18 and you're not putting in the work or not suffering for those 10 years, then you're not doing it right. It's because most artists suffer. So do the work. If you want to be an actor, go to acting classes. And it's like any other muscle. You have to work it out. Keep going to the acting classes. Don't go to 2 and say, I learned. You didn't. If you want to be a director, watch videos on directing, see movies. I see at least 1 movie in a theater a weekend. You want to be a writer? Read scripts. Sorry, I'm ranting, but do the work and leave the fear at the door. This is my takeaway.
Hell yeah. It's good.
The one thing I can add to that, again, very, very green, that's why I got these guys around me, is that I feel like you have to have a great team around you. You got to have like-minded people who have the same vision or want to have the same outcome. Obviously it may be different visions, right? And you can collab, but for me, having Drew, Marcus, and Jonas, Kevin Ward, all these different people involved, it's like we all have different ideas on what we want, but we all have the same goal. And like having these guys around me is what's pushing me to continue to go, because I'm not gonna lie, this man Drew sends out about 1,000 emails. Like your phone is just going.
I'm sorry,
but he's doing that to he's pushing us. And so, like I said, you got to have a strong team around you. Got to.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, man, I will piggyback off of what Drew said, man. You just got to put in the work. As somebody who just fell into it, so to speak, I was in film school at the time and met Damien at a convention. And first thing he told me, man, was like, I mean, nothing against anybody that went to film school and finished it and everything. I commend him. I plan on going back myself eventually one day. But he was like, dude, just quit wasting your money and get experience on the set. And that's where I got my start, man, on the set of Terrifier 2. I was going to every department and trying to learn all the positions. I'm constantly reading and reading books and keeping up with all the entertainment magazines of all the trends and the changes, because I mean the industry is changing every day, basically. And yeah, man, just networking is key in this industry. Networking is key. Meet all the filmmakers that you could meet, pick their brain, take as much notes as you can, and just apply it to your style of filmmaking. Whether you're a producer, director, writer, grip, best boy, whatever. Just take what people has done already in the industry and apply it to your own style. That's the best advice I could give.
Can I piggyback off him real quick, just because he mentioned film school? As a victim of film school myself, I say victim, but I have kid. I'm gonna give the pitch for and against. Pitch for: your parents have money, or you have a scholarship, or you desperately need the knowledge. So let's pretend you know nothing about filmmaking. It is going to get, like, if you wanted to be a screenwriter and you got into USC or NYU or one of the reputable writing schools, absolutely you'll walk out of there. Not necessarily, if you don't have it, you don't have it. But if they let you in, you probably have it. You'll have some skills that will take you there. You might not be ready fresh out of college, but you'll have the tools to do it faster than you would have otherwise. But the debt to knowledge ratio, I still don't know, because I'm still paying off student loans. So it's like, you know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way,
Stay in your means.
Yep.
One other thing that we're doing that's really cool, and I actually think that this was Montavius's idea originally, was he wanted the project to have a mission too. And so we are working with charities, specifically Big Picture Alliance out of Philly, It basically helps at-risk youth take acting classes and film classes and classes that they would not have access to otherwise, and we're partnering in a few ways to sort of make that mission or bring that goal to life. One of our reward tiers is sponsor a PA. So basically half of your donation in that tier goes to the making of the film, so equipment, whatever, and the other half goes to paying someone, an upperclassman from this program. And then if we far exceed our goal, we'll be cutting checks to a few different organizations, Intercity Arts, and again, Big Picture Alliance.
Bravo.
That's incredible. Good. So speaking of which, as a filmmaker myself, we all know hurdles always encounter, right? Every time whether it's on set or before you get on set, etc. What hurdles did you encounter along the way, and then how'd you overcome them?
I want Montavius to start,
Okay.
only because we were there from the beginning, so I want him to think about the early hurdles.
I feel like you're setting me up here.
No, I'm not. But we.
Well, I'm not gonna lie. Like for me, I did have some hurdles, right? Like, first of all, like having the courage to reach out to someone and trust someone. Also, too, you know, like things aren't cheap, so like you have to like pay people for their time and stuff like that. So I mean, like financially, yeah, there's hurdles and stuff like that. But I really didn't face anything like as far as like being on set or anything like that yet. So I'm waiting to see what kind of obstacles come up with that and I'm, you know, excited to see how we overcome those hurdles here in the future. So I don't know. We shall see.
It was a loaded question early on. I wasn't trying to set you up, but early on, I sort of. Montavius's original vision was much more like micro indie, and I very quickly blew it up in his face in a good way.
Yes.
By attaching names. As soon as you start to do that, our price tag starts to go up. So those are hurdles. Our biggest hurdle, our single largest hurdle, is financing. I'm confident we're going to make it because we're doing a lot of press, including this. But like, you should see our schedule for the month of August. It's like crazy with just like lots of meeting with people and like trying to get people involved and, you know, telling them our story. And I think that's going to be both our largest hurdle, but also, fingers crossed, our biggest success story if we get it done.
Nice.
For sure. And just kind of piggyback on what Drew was saying. Yes, he set me up because literally I was like, you know, I want 10,000, 15,000 short, boom, 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 because most shorts are about $1,000 a minute if you break it down to right there. And then, you know, he sent back this breakdown of budget and actors and actresses and cameras and all this other stuff. And I'm like, how did it go from 10 to 60, bro? Like, I was just like thinking, you know, so that really took me back. But I know like what we have is going to take that, and everybody will see it play out on the screen, literally.
I will say, to speak to the $1,000 a minute, I fundamentally disagree with it as a filmmaker. This is not me trying to combat you, Montavius. I love you, so it's not like whatever. But it's so subjective because like it depends on, are your friends and family working for free on this film? Like, are you using whatever? There's so many different variables to get to that number. Terrifier, I believe the first one before it was a feature, the first short version was about 35 minutes. That was about 35,000. So if you equate for inflation, 48,000. Only reason I know this is I did a lot of research to try to sell Montavius and sort of get people to understand, no, they can be expensive. Those micro level ones exist, and I've done them. But to get the quality that we want to push this into something bigger, we absolutely need our budget.
And the hurdle for me when I came on was I took a budget mock-up that Drew already had for the project. And I was like, okay, how can I keep this within the parameters of our main goal and our stretch goal, especially using the industry rates today. And luckily, Drew, with his great mouthpiece and family friends discount, we were able to accomplish that. So
what he's trying to tell you is that the number would be a lot higher than what we're asking for if I did not have friends and families taking rates.
This short could easily be well over 100,000 if we were going off the industry rates, you know.
but a lot of friends like.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
But that's what it is, man. Like people, think that they could just hop in and make a movie, for 10 grand or less. And yes, you can, but if you're going for a high quality film, it is doable that you can make a high quality film for, under 100K. And
there's case studies for both ways too. So like, I hate to say, I don't agree with that you have to have it to be quality. But in our instance, for what we are going for, the budget makes sense. But I think there are ways for you to go really high quality without spending that. So I don't want to like mislead filmmakers to think that if you're coming in and you're new to the game, that you need that much. You do not. This is like my 4th or 5th. It depends on if you count the early ones that I won't show anybody. Sure. But our budget's appropriate. That's all I'll say.
Yeah. And I appreciate that, Drew, because that you didn't just crush my hopes and dreams of having a super small budget for my films. Thank you. I appreciate that.
No, I don't want to crush your hopes and dreams because I've done films for 2K, less than that.
That's what I'm saying. Thank you. I appreciate that. See, all you filmmakers out there, just get to filming, dude. You don't need the big budget. It doesn't need to be perfect. It will come. Just start.
I agree.
Yep, I agree. All right, we're going to dive into 6 questions.
No.
Welcome to Raccoon City is like Deadpool and Wolverine. They're almost like the same film. They're fan service. Both of those films are pure fan service.
All right. How do I exit the studio right now? I'm about to
Resident Evil
leave
will
right
stay
now.
into the future.
No, man. No. Dave, don't listen. Do not disrespect
Hold on.
Mr. Poole. Do not disrespect Mr. Poole like that.